And so there was a question in the previous one, should newspapers be creating their own social networks? Absolutely. You already have one. In many cases, you have registration data. You have people who have information on their own profiles, but what do you do with them? Nothing. Nothing. There's an opportunity there to already have that, take that registration and that relationship you have and build that community that already exists. You're just enabling that community to talk to itself. Mm-hmm. Newspapers really need to refocus their attention not on content, but on audiences. Because oftentimes when newspapers are out there thinking about how they're going to grow their strategy, it's about how can I create new types of content, what new sections can I put into the paper or online. And I think that's a mistaken value proposition, because the core asset of a newspaper isn't that it has unique and professionally produced content. It's that it has a unique audience that it has developed a relationship with over time. And that's the asset, I think, the core of what you can actually develop and leverage in the future. In particular, in this online space where it is becoming much more social, where things are starting to fragment, being able to aggregate content for your audiences, syndicate your content to where your audiences are, and also engage with your content on a social level. I mean, really, truly engaging with them on their terms are going to be the key foundations for strategies of growth. We've been looking at this whole question of what should the online brand be for over a decade now. And the reason why there's no firm answer is because what the online brand is going to be is so different in every single instance. And so I think it goes back to what is the objective of that online brand? Is it to go and reach the existing audience that you're trying to reach? If so, then you should probably leverage the existing brand. If you're going after a completely different audience that's going to have a very different value proposition than your existing brand, then you should probably go with a different brand. The question comes up all the time, by investing in these online activities, these online products, are we cannibalizing the print? And I think a better way to think about it is any online activity cannibalizing the print, regardless of whether you do it or somebody else does it. And if that answer is yes, then you better do it faster than your competition is. And in many ways, you should be leading the way, because if it's going to go away and erode, you don't want to be in a position of defensive and being in a position of having to catch up, which has always been the case when it comes to classifieds by and large for the industry. So I think about the relationship, again, of forming a really tight relationship with the audience that already is loyal to the newspaper, the brand, the content, the editorial, but also thinking about opening up new audiences too. If newspapers are defined by local, what does that local audience want and need? And today, typically newspapers on a really good day reach maybe half of that population in some form or another, both print and online. There's another half of people who have the same problems, who are trying to solve them through the newspaper site and content that aren't being solved today. So that's the opportunity there. What if you were to say the audience, how can we grow that audience? How to become more relevant to the existing and new audiences? That should be the focus of the strategy, not necessarily the content. Now, content is still very important. It's extremely core to what the newspaper does, but that's not the core asset on which to build the company and the business.